one of my clients invested, $290,000 and got $6.7 million worth of work off of online marketing. And I want the audience to know who they're talking to here, and you know your stuff in digital marketing. So.
Thank you. I mean, digital marketing should be a cornerstone and a focus for your marketing efforts.
So if you're not doing it, you should be doing it. And there's all of these online marketing agencies that say that they do online marketing for the restoration industry, and restorers keep getting burnt.
I think, digital marketing is not rocket science, right? Just like restoration is not rocket science. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be in Chicago to do those numbers. You don't have to be in New York City to do those numbers. Money's a great thing, but everybody is helping somebody, and that's how you get rewarded in this industry. It's just like the past 3 years working with everybody. It's really cool to see that. So I don't think a lot of industries operate that way, and I've just noticed that restoration does. And yeah.
Welcome everybody to the Albi After Hours podcast, where we talk about propelling the restoration industry forward. I'm super excited to have this wonderful guest here in Chicago live. I've worked with this gentleman for 3 years now, maybe?
Yes.
We have like 50 customers that are in common. He's been an absolute guru in digital marketing, and I'm super excited to invite James LaRosa to the studio. What's up, man?
Thank you for having me, Alex. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. You flew yourself away from, Hurricane Debbie, Daryl?
Storm, hurricane, it's all the same stuff.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you left a day early to make sure that your flight wasn't delayed.
Exactly.
And you got to hang out with us in beautiful Chicagoland today.
It's been fun so far.
Cool, man. Well, I want to dive into the meat and potatoes of digital marketing for restoration contractors. As you know, I'm super passionate about it, and you are too. But before we do that, I would like for all of our listeners and viewers to kind of get your backstory, because I think that's super interesting. So, from the minute you were born to the minute you are here right now today, you got 60 seconds. Let's run through the backstory.
So I've always been kind of like a tech nerd all throughout my life. Started a pressure washing company, did pretty well with that. Sold the pressure washing company, and I said, okay, well, I need something else to do.
Okay.
So we got all of our jobs came from Google, right? And I ran the marketing. So I was like, well, if I did it for myself, I can help other people grow their business doing the exact same thing. And so that's how we're here today.
How does tech nerd get into pressure washing company? Like that doesn't seem to really mix well.
It's a long story. But it was just kind of something that I threw myself into. Kind of did it as like a side gig, a side job, and it blew up into an actual company. So, yeah.
And this was all, well, you're very modest, by the way, but so you were in college.
Yes,
right?
I was in college.
And you decided to start this pressure washing business.
Yes.
And you grew this pressure washing business. How many people were by the time you sold out of it?
We probably had 6, 7 people.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And all these guys were college buddies of yours?
Most of them, yeah, all college buddies. Yeah, we would go to class together, party together, and work together. So
nice. Super cool. And then, so you realized the marketing potential of that, and then you started your own marketing. How did that transpire into what you have right now, which is restoration digital marketing?
That's a great question. We, in the beginning, we started with working with everybody, right? Painters, roofers, pressure washers. And I just had some advice. Somebody was like, hey, the restoration space is really good. You should niche down and do restoration marketing. So I did that, and just, every industry is different. So there's a lot of learning, a lot of trial and error, but it's like, you stick with one industry and you become kind of a master at just focusing on there. And that's how we just stuck with restoration, and just keep on doing good work and just keep on delivering.
Awesome. So for those of you listening, I typically don't heavily endorse or recommend people other than James. We actually, when our relationship started off, it started a little wobbly, right? Kind of like how me and Watley's relationship started. For whatever reason, my best relationships, I start in a weird format. But we had a mutual customer, True North Restoration, a franchisor. I think you had some sort of issues with the call tracking within Albi, and you were poking some holes. And then I'm like, who's this guy tearing up Albi's product? What in the world?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
And then somehow you end up sending a cold email to Romextera.
I did.
And my dad ends up hiring you to do online marketing for Romextera. And suddenly that blows up.
Yes.
Right? And then I'm like, whoa, it blew up with that. I had 4 private coaching clients. I send them over, and they blow up.
Yes.
Literally, one of my clients invested, $290,000 and got $6.7 million worth of work off of online marketing. He had never done online marketing before. So when I saw those results, I can't help but just openly be like, he's your guy. And yes, 15% of the people, of the 40 to 50 people that we have in common, have struggled a little bit with higher costs of acquisition and stuff like that. But their failures haven't been as bad as other people's failures who have spent money in online marketing and just throw money down the toilet. So shameless plug for you. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Don't get any affiliates out of this. Like, just doing this out of pure drive. But anyway, you're just super modest, and I want the audience to know who they're talking to here, and you know your stuff in digital marketing. So,
Thank you.
Now that we made that clear, let's powwow into digital marketing. So in my book, Restoration Millionaire, as you know, the first fishing hole is digital marketing. And I think it's a marvelous tool because you can set it and forget it. You go hire an agency that knows what they're doing, like Restoration Growth Partners. They start running ads on Google and stuff like that. Your phone starts ringing, and in the meantime, you can focus on something else. It's low lift. What's your thought about that? Like, is that true? Is that kind of how you should look at it? Can you really get, I don't know, $2 to $3 million in mitigation work in any market from online marketing? What are the pros and cons?
Yeah, I mean, it's especially good when you're starting out. So if you do it right, you can generate jobs in kind of short period of time. Mm-hmm. It's also a pretty good ROI. It fits in line with the profit margins of water damage, fire, so on and so forth. Depending on the market, I'm pretty sure almost everywhere can do $2 to $3 million with digital marketing. I mean, you just have to know how to run the ads. You got to show up, number one. You also have to have a good, sales process and intake process for those projects. But anybody, whether you're sub $1 million a year just starting out, or you're like Rome Xterra, very large company, I mean, digital marketing should be a cornerstone and a focus for your marketing efforts, for sure.
Yeah, it's huge. For the people who don't do it, like, okay, I'll call his name Joe Ercolano, right?
Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, shout out to Joe. But like Joe Ercolano, when I started working with him, I don't want to disclose his figures, but multiple 7-figure company, and I saw he didn't do any online marketing. Yeah. He was crushing it with plumbers and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, you should do online marketing. You're not doing it. Flip the switch. 12 months later, passes the 8-figure mark, right? Yep. 7 figures from just online marketing alone. So if you're not doing it, you should be doing it. But there's this hesitancy in the industry.
Yes.
And that's because people have gotten burnt before. And there's all of these online marketing agencies that say that they do online marketing for the restoration industry, and restorers keep getting burned.
Yes.
What are those companies doing differently, and why do you have the results that you have?
This is a very simple answer. It may not be the one that people are hoping to hear. I think, digital marketing is not rocket science, right? Just like restoration is not rocket science. I think finding an agency like ours, we just do what we say we're going to do, and we do it every single week and every single month. It's like there's a repeatable process, and I just think a lot of the times that the digital marketing agencies, when you get burned, they're simply just like not doing the work. Like they're really just not doing it.
Why would you offer a product or service and not do it?
It's easy to hide behind a screen. It's very easy to hide behind a screen, give really high expectations, and they just see people as a number. They say, I can get a client for 6 months, I make X amount of revenue, and they just kind of churn and burn. They don't really, they don't like retaining clients.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you actually told me, hey, stop sending me so much. I got to go fix fulfillment first. What was the thought process behind that?
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we can actually deliver on what we say we're going to deliver, right? It's not just like we're helping people who own companies grow and scale their company, right? They have families. They have technicians who have families, right? And so if we don't uphold our promise and our quality of work, then it's not just like they're losing money. The people inside the company are actually getting harmed. And so like you don't want to run into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then if it's so easy, then why shouldn't I, as a restoration contractor, do it?
2 things. Number one, your time is well better spent on the other areas of your business. Actually, if you're doing it, you're still doing the work. You need to remove yourself out of doing the work, right? I also just think that running restoration company is a little different than running a digital marketing company. Mm-hmm. You can sure learn and do it, but again, you're just like getting yourself into the weeds. And like as a business owner, like I face this struggle too. You need to remove yourself out of the operations, out of the weeds.
Got it. So it's not worth for you to execute something that an agency could do for a couple grand a month in service fees.
Especially
right?
like we're specialists in restoration. So like you're going to go through trial and error for years trying to figure out what to do and hiring people and stuff like that. We just already have the playbook. So
got it. Makes sense. Awesome. So if we're looking at, successful versus non-successful restoration marketing. Obviously, you just outlined that one of the reasons for success is having the right agency, i.e. you, who's going to do the work, and allegedly the wrong agency is not going to do the work. But between your customers, I assume, you have less performing customers and better performing customers. What are some of the traits of the better performing customers, and what are the traits of the not so good performing customers?
Great question. I think there's a few top things. Number one's getting reviews. So you have to get reviews, and like there's multiple things you have to do in order to get that. But it starts with just asking your customer after you're done with the job, are you happy? Yes. Here's a QR code. Please leave a review. Yep. Reviews are huge for both paid advertising and for the organic side of things too. Number two, a big difference is when it comes to like the first time somebody calls. A lot of restoration, companies, they have to understand that you need to treat the online leads a little bit differently than you do like if an insurance agent sends it your way, or a referral from a plumber, right? There's a kind of different way of speaking to the client, reassuring the client on that first phone call.
How so?
These people don't, your house is flooded. It's obviously a very hectic time in your life, right? Yep. You wake up and your kid's room is underwater, and there might be sewage in the kitchen or in the bathroom. And so you have to, when they call you, reassure them, we can take care of it. Here are the expectations. We work with your insurance. We get out there in 45 minutes or whatever the time is. If it comes from, and they don't have that trust with you, right? They just saw you online. They're choosing you because your ad showed up or you're one of the top rated companies. Yep. But if your insurance agent or a plumber or a friend referred a restoration company, that person calling might have a little more leeway in terms of their expectations and stuff. Yeah. So that first call from an online source, you just have to kind of understand how to work with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that myself. I've hired vendors that have had subpar onboarding processes, but because they were recommended by somebody, and Kiara knows what I'm talking about, but because they were recommended by somebody I trust, there's a lot of leeway given during the rocky onboarding process versus if I was just to Google something, it'd be like my expectations up here because there is no other trust factor, right? Yes. So, okay. What do you think of answering services? Obviously, buying back your time. Maybe you shouldn't be answering the phone. You can hire somebody offshore to take care of it, or, Ruby, Rosie, or whatever they're called, which are the online answering services. What do you think of them?
I think you should have it as the absolute last resort. You need to do it all in-house. You need to have that process. I've seen so many times where a answering service, they answer the call and they absolutely butcher it. Yep. That's most of the time. Sometimes they do a good job, but then there's loss in between. They intake this information, and then the contractor, the business owner, or the operations manager doesn't know that phone number slipped through the cracks, and it's they call back 3 hours later and the person already has another company out there doing the work. So it's I know Rome Xterra does an absolute fantastic job answering the phone calls after hours, during business hours, and just again makes such a big difference when the people in your company are answering the phone.
1,000%. Yeah, I can't stress this enough for anybody listening. I mean, we tried all the answering services. I don't feel like in restoration you can outsource the answering of the phone call successfully. You need to have it, because think about it, the person answering the phone follows your values, your culture. They know everything about the organization. They know specifically the project manager that's going out and, the strengths of that project manager to leverage. They know the whole process inside and out. You just can't teach somebody who's, removed from your organization. Think about it. An answering service is 2 degrees removed. You've got your organization versus the answering organization, and then the answering organization and the employee of that organization or the subcontract of that organization. So it's just, you can feel it over the phone. I know, when I call vendors, I know when I'm speaking to answering service, I'll literally ask the question, is this an answering service? And if you do have an answering service and listen to the call recordings, you'll probably find that sometimes people are super frustrated and they're like, is this an answering service?
They definitely do. I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that with our clients.
And they'll say, yep, it's an answering service. They'll be like, okay, click. Or they'll do the opposite. They'll be like, okay, well, tell them this, right? Yeah. And they'll skip the whole, not going to repeat my address 5 times. I'm not going to do this. Just tell them to call me.
Yes.
Right? So cool. So they answer their own phones. That's awesome. They have great reviews.
Yes.
That's awesome. What else? World-class organization. And think about it this way, like what's a world-class organization do revenue-wise off of online marketing, and what are their characteristics?
I mean, definitely at least a few $1 million a year. Like it's not rocket science to do it. Again, every market's different. You have ups and you have downs.
But that's an average organization, right? 1 to 3 is an average.
Yes.
What's a world-class? Knocking it out of the park. What could be done?
In terms of online
revenue.
5-8 mil.
Got it.
I feel like you could get to
Nice.
very easily.
And you have clients doing that?
Yes.
Cool. In smallish markets, medium markets?
Medium to large markets.
Got it.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're in a city of 100,000 people, you may not be able to do 8 mil a year. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be in Chicago to do those numbers. You don't have to be in New York City to do those numbers.
Makes sense. Okay. And what other traits? Answering your phone, Google reviews.
I really feel like it's the culture and the people they have internally. Like culture is like such like a buzzword to use, but like when we talk about that in reviews, the great companies, again, like Romixtera, Ercolano, so on and so forth, these customers are leaving the names in the review of their project manager, of the technicians. These people were so caring with my family. I have little kids around, they blah, blah, blah. And so just like that, they make the customer smile at the end of the day. And that's definitely something that comes internally.
Awesome. Cool. So to recap this, key important metrics we said, get as many reviews as you possibly can.
Yes.
Answer the phone. Simple. Like all these things seem so simple, but most people don't do. And then build an award-winning company, basically, award-winning culture, world-class culture. And obviously use an online ad agency that will actually do the work versus
like Restoration Growth Partners.
Cool. Awesome. So let's talk about ROI now. Let's talk about like, how do we know that online marketing is working versus not? And then I'll have a follow-up question afterwards.
It's pretty simple. A lot of agencies don't like to track it, but you figure out how much money you're spending each month and how much money's coming in. So like it's very easy for us. We plug into Albi and we're able to see, hey, these are the tracking phone numbers, these are the leads that were created, and these are the projects that spun out of these leads. And you can very much see, I mean, it's not just even ROI. You can see estimated revenue, actual closed revenue, so you can see the gaps and are we closing this correctly? Or, are we losing too many mold jobs or something like that, right? And so you just have to figure out how much money am I spending, how much money I'm making. It doesn't fit within our margins.
Yeah. I was telling the story on how I triangulated and joined the phone numbers.
Yes.
And then you told me that, hey, you were already doing that. I was like, I felt so stupid. But this business owner came to me and he's like, hey, should I spend more on online marketing? Is James doing a good job? And I'm like, well, let me go take a look. So I take a look at the ad spend from James. He had spent like $200,000 during that year. And I look at Albi, and his employees were kind of bad at putting in the source, right? Because within Albi, you have the referral source, which every other software has, including PSA and Dash and such. But what I ended up doing was I joined based on the phone calls, because Albi has the tracking system versus others don't. And we realized that there was $6.9 million of accrual revenue generated out of $200,000 invested in between RGP cost and Google ads and all that. And it was like, it's a no-brainer. Your cost of acquisition was like 2%.
Yes.
In my book, I talk about it. 10 to 20% is like, 20% is the max if you're aggressively growing. 10% is kind of where you want to be. At 2% cost per acquisition, you're far away from diminishing returns. And it was an awesome insight that I think we were able to see that in other systems you wouldn't be able to see because it was all human error, versus the way you track things, it's all based on the phone number. So it's like, did a phone call happen on this number, and this number is tied to the campaign, right? And then that phone number is tied to the customer and the project in Albi. So based on those two things coming together, we can tell whether or not ad spend's working.
Yes.
So that was a super cool thing. And I felt like I invented something, and then I went to you and I'm like, hey, and you're like, oh yeah, I do this for all Albi clients. Look, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I'm not that smart. So talk to me about diminishing returns, right? I recall earlier in my restoration career with a previous online marketing agency, I had aggressive growth goals. I wanted to get from like $3 million to $6 million. And I did the math backwards, right? I was like, hey, I spent whatever, 15 grand a year to get $3 million, or 15 grand a month to get $3 million. I'm going to spend 30 grand a month to get 6. And I remember like screaming at the ad agency over the phone because they were not, one, spending the budget, and 2, it didn't fit that same profile. So like, how can you find like when should you spend more? When should you spend less? How do you know that? And how do you navigate that with customers, especially crazy, aggressive, growing entrepreneurs like the ones listening to this podcast who are like, spend my money.
So again, it has to fit in your margins, but you also have to realize that if you're going down the route of paid marketing, right, there's only so much ROI you can get off that. If you put in $1, like don't expect to get like $30 out of it, right? $1 turns into $10 or $8 or something like that. I think like the best thing for people who are listening to this podcast and like what we do with our clients is obviously paid advertising. It works pretty fast is the great thing. You make money off of it. But what you need to also be doing is don't neglect the organic side of Google. 70% of all the leads on Google go to the organic section, specifically the Google Business Profile section. And so what you want to do is in the beginning, run those paid ads, get increased job flow, increase your revenue, and then also slowly invest into the organic. And then what you can really do over time is you can decrease the amount that you're spending in paid advertising because your job flow is high enough now from the organic side. Exactly.
And when you came to our mastermind call, for those of you listening, we have this restoration mastermind called Evolve. James was so awesome, and he came and taught the nitty gritty of the digital marketing blueprint, which was awesome. We can give it away for free. DM me actually or comment below, and I'll give that away for free. Or you can find me on socials at It's Alex Dude, and I'll give you the training for free. But you kind of talked about, we had this pentagon looking shape, and we talked about the different things that restorers should be doing to increase their organic ratings.
Yes.
Right. And I remember like you talked about like the Google business profile, what they should be doing there. And then you talked about reviews. I think you talked about multiple locations. Yes. Do you mind walking us through like what are the different things you can do as a restorer without hiring James? Because I think we've done too much shameless plug right now, right? Without hiring James, what can you do actionably to make your website and your Google My Business rank better on Google?
Yeah, that's great. Number one is there's so many restorers I see posting on Facebook, on TikTok, which is fine. But your Google business profile is also like a social media profile. So,
really?
Yeah, you can post videos to it. You can do updates on it, like mini blog posts, photos, anything like that.
Like a feed, like a scrollable feed. Like
you can do little posts on there, a whole bunch of stuff. And like,
so not just update the bio and the cover photo and let it sit.
Exactly. And like you think about where are your clients? If you're a restoration company, where do you get your clients from, right? Online. They're not coming to you through TikTok. They're not coming to you through Facebook. They go to Google and they type in, very simple, water damage restoration near me, right? And so your profile needs to look the best, number one. Number two is you need to get those reviews in, right?
Yep.
You can not hire an agency. And if you have, you update your profile regularly and get reviews, it will start ranking higher. It may not be number one, but you can go from number 10 to number 6, and you're going to get increased job flow from that.
Yep.
And again, it's just, we see it from time to time. You just have to ask for the reviews. Like just have your project manager, yourself, your operations manager, when you're closing out that job, just provide the customer with a QR code and ask them to leave a review on the spot. Yep. If you just focus on that, like you will increase your revenue. No agency required.
Awesome. And then what about locations? Like you do this little hack where you add multiple locations within a territory.
Yes. So your Google business profile really only has like a 13-mile radius from the address on it that it will show up. So if you service a 40-mile radius, obviously depending on the competition in the area, you'll want like 3 to 4 different business profiles. And what you'll see is you'll look at a map and you'll see that they all kind of overlap with each other, and you're all ranking the top 3 in every neighborhood and every city that you service. It's you need to be kind of crafty with how you open up those profiles, but you can do it. And I mean, that's like the most successful way to expand your business is focusing on the organic, opening up the profiles, actually getting the reviews. It's just a pretty easy process to rinse and repeat.
Interesting. So you're creating like this little mesh of 13-mile radiuses, basically,
exactly.
around Chicagoland or whatever.
Exactly.
And how do you get these locations? Like co-working spaces? Or?
Yeah, there's some qualifications in the eyes of Google. What we do, it's co-working spaces, right? You typically have to pay extra, though, for an actual mailing address that's for your business.
Yep.
And they typically have like a directory, like, plaques on the wall.
Yep.
You pay an extra $50, sometimes $100 a month for that. But in the eyes of Google, that is all, they'll approve your business profile if you show off those things.
Interesting.
So that's all you really got to do. It costs like typically $350 a month per location. And the ROI on that is just like,
It's huge.
It's just insane. Yeah.
I mean, just one job a year out of it, right?
Exactly.
Or 2 jobs a year and
Exactly.
it pays for itself, right?
Yeah.
Super cool. Awesome. Well, hey, man, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here live on the podcast. But I pitched you this one idea earlier today, and I think you were rather pleased by it, right? And I'll go in a little rant for the listeners so they don't have the context. But, what would you say the average, I don't know, water damage restoration job, closed one, what are people paying for that one job?
In terms of the company paying to
Yeah, I'm
acquire
saying
that job?
ad spend and your fees per job, roughly. Or we could just say what's the average cost per lead to make it simple for you.
I'll say that most of our clients will spend around 15% to acquire a job.
Okay, so if the average job is $10,000, you're saying they're spending all in about $1,500 to acquire that job.
Yeah, roughly.
Cool, awesome. Great. So if we're willing to spend $1,500 to acquire a job from a customer, what are we willing to spend to acquire a referral source that could indefinitely refer customers to us?
A lot more.
And why is nobody doing this? So TLDR, for those of you listening, you're like, you're talking, what are you talking about? But my theory is, and I've learned a lot about B2B marketing lately, and my theory is that if we're willing to spend $1,500 to acquire a customer off of Google, we should be willing to spend $15,000 to acquire a referral source off of online marketing. And the reason behind that is one referral source can refer, I ran the numbers, and one referral source can refer 0.8 jobs every single month. So within 1 year, it's roughly 10 jobs in a year, right? So if a referral source can refer 10 jobs in a year, well, in 1 year, we'd have payback if we spent 15 grand for the referral source, right? Well, okay, well, Alex, what are you talking about getting referral sources to close? You're not going to, nobody's searching for water damage restoration referrals for insurance agents, right? But Facebook and LinkedIn, you can target insurance agents, plumbers, property managers.
Exactly.
And now instead of having Jackie at Romextera going out to insurance agents, knocking on their doors, we can attract them with digital marketing to us and then have Jackie talk to them, build a relationship.
Exactly.
What do you think? Do you think that'll work?
I mean, 100%. The business relationships, in restoration, having those referrals and those agents, I mean, that's where the bulk of most restoration companies get their work from, right? Digital marketing is great, but you can't neglect this whole other side of the industry. And I think it's, I've never done it myself, but I think it would be kind of weird if I was an insurance agent and people, there's other competitors to Romextera, right? Multiple people knocking on the door every week. It's probably going to piss them off a little bit, annoy them. So having them get antiquated with your brand before you even interact with them in the first place, I think that separates your restoration company from everybody else. They're actually going to see you, engage with your ads, engage with your website, and they're going to have inherent trust with you. So when you do come knocking or they do fill out a contact form or call you, they're choosing to do that because they trust you, and they're not doing it with other companies.
Got it. So how confident, so you said you haven't done it before, but we know you're world-class at purchasing paid media, right? Like, you know how to purchase ads. I assume you know how to purchase Facebook and LinkedIn ads.
Yes.
And I assume you can figure out how to make the algorithms target plumbers and insurance agents, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why don't we partner together and offer the people listening to this podcast another little takeaway? Let's try a pilot. I don't know. We'll charge them whatever you need to charge them. I won't charge for my time. We'll put together the whole thing, right? And we run a campaign, and we target insurance agents and plumbers because we need some data around this to see if it works. You guys will be our guinea pigs. He'll do it for whatever he charges. I won't charge anything to craft the magic behind it. And let's try it out.
Let's do it.
And I'll throw in a couple other companies that we should try it out for and such. But I have a strong hypothesis that the future of restoration digital marketing is switching B2B to B2C, or B2C to B2B. Let everybody else get into freaking bidding wars over
keywords
and stuff like that, right? Let everybody else go and offer plumbers $15 million for referrals,
Yeah.
right? Because we had Chris Fresh. So I don't know if you saw our podcast, but we had Chris Fresh, plumbing sales coach. He was an ex-plumber. He's a sales coach now. He sat in the same chair that you sat, and he's like, if somebody comes and offers me money and that's what they come in with, I'm immediately disqualifying them. So let the people that follow the whole let's pay plumbers and all that do their thing, and let us propel the restoration industry forward by running ads to insurance agents, plumbers, property managers, bringing them real life value, having them come to the restoration companies like Roma, Xterra, Ercolano, so on and so forth, and then the conversation becomes easier. Now let's see what happens.
Let's do it.
In 6 months from now, let's do another podcast, report back on our findings, and we may or may not have other exciting announcements.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Well, what else would you like to add to our marvelous podcast here?
Great question. I don't know.
What's your message to the restoration industry? Heartfelt, customer-centric message.
Everybody that I worked with, really great people. And I think you kind of see that across the restoration industry. It's not just like you're trying to sell somebody, like pressure washing, cleaning their roof. Like these people are actually in moments of their life where they need help. Their house is on fire, biohazard cleanup, water damage. And like, it's really cool working with the people, our clients, because they actually genuinely care about their clients and we care about them. It's kind of just like a flywheel, right? Everybody, you're doing it. Money's a great thing, but everybody is helping somebody. And that's how you get rewarded in this industry. It's just like the past 3 years working with everybody. It's really cool to see that. So I don't think a lot of industries operate that way. And I've just noticed that restoration does. And yeah.
That's super awesome. I felt that your care for the client specifically from the minute you walked in through the door, and actually from the minute we started working together 2 years ago. And it seems odd that I see that from a vendor, right? It shouldn't be this way, but most vendors put themselves first. But every time we were talking, you always put the customer first. Why? Like, where does that come from?
I think it's just about being a good person and doing what's right, right? Again, people are entrusting you to grow their business, and so they provide you money. And so you have to respect that, and you just have to do what needs to be done. And also, like, I've never operated a restoration company before, but I did a pressure washing company for many years. And growing up, I was behind a computer a lot, building websites. And so, like, getting into that industry showed me, like, man, there's a lot more to the world than what's on a computer screen. And it really I got a lot of respect for the people who, sorry for cursing, but bust their ass every day, operating the companies and actually doing the work. So I think that's where a lot of my respect and attentiveness to our clients comes from, is because I did do it for a period of my life, and I understand how hard that is.
Wow, that's awesome. If there's any restoration vendors out there, adopting James's philosophy is the way to win in this market. It's not about you. It's about the restorer. You help the restorer. The byproduct is you grow and scale a valuable product or service that just naturally crushes. You think about yourself and strategically try to position yourself. Yep, you'll spike up, but eventually somebody else is going to care, like James, and then you're going to wonder why things didn't work out. So it's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for coming to the podcast.
Man, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I hope to be back soon.
I would love to have you back soon. If anybody listening to this wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Yep, just go to restorationgrowthpartners.com or just search me up on Facebook, James LaRosa. DM me, book a call on our website, and just go from there.
Sounds awesome. Cool, man. Let's do this again. And
Awesome.
Let's do a quick hug, man.
Oh, quick hug.
Oh, man, you're tall.